All right, good evening. This is the October 2nd, 2024 Cottage Grove City Council meeting, which I'm calling to order. The first order of business this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. So we please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, will the clerk please do the roll?
Councilmember Kambata.
I'm here.
Councilmember Olson.
Here.
Councilmember Thede.
Here.
Councilmember Garza. Here. Mayor Bailey.
Here. Next on our agenda this evening is open forum. This is the opportunity for anybody that wants to speak on anything that's not on tonight's agenda is welcome to do so. I am not seeing anybody other than our staff in the audience this evening, so I'm assuming we don't have anybody either signed up or here to speak, so I'm going to go ahead and close open forum, and we'll move to number 5, which is adoption of the agenda.
Move the agenda.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Olson, second by Councilmember Thede. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 6 is presentations. We do have one this evening, and it's the proclamation for the 2024 Fire Prevention Week. And I believe I know it says differently on here. Are you Deputy Fire Chief?
Yes.
That's what I thought. That isn't what it says on my sheet, by the way. Oh, no, you notice that? So Deputy Fire Chief Nick Aragoni is going to start us through this one, I assume. Is that correct, Nick?
Well, thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council members. I appreciate you having me up here tonight. So with this, I would like to first say thank you for doing this proclamation. And also, I'd like to formally invite you to our open house on October 8th. It will be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We're going to have kitchen fire demos, a cardiac arrest scenario, station tours, apparatus tours, and then I think it should go without saying, but probably most importantly, one could argue, is the ability to interact with our public and our citizens and let them know how we operate and who we are. So thank you very much.
Sounds good. And then I do believe Councilmember Olson is going to, we have a proclamation, obviously, to recognize this. And so it is Fire Prevention Week through October 6th through the 14th next week. So Councilmember Olson, do you want to read the proclamation?
Happy to. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Nick. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the City of Cottage Grove is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our state, and fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And whereas home fires killed more than 2,700 people in the United States in 2022, according to the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and fire departments in the United States responded to 360,000 home fires, and whereas roughly 3 out of 5 fire deaths happen in homes with either no smoke alarms or with no working smoke alarms. And working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires almost in half. And whereas smoke alarms sense smoke well before you can, alerting you to danger in the event of fire in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. And Cottage Grove residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area, and on every level of the home. And residents should test smoke alarms at least twice a month. Whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And Cottage Grove first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme, Smoke Alarms Make Them Work for You, serves to remind us of the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home. Now, therefore, the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottage Grove, County of Washington, State of Minnesota, hereby proclaim the week of October 6th through the 14th, 2024, as Fire Prevention Week, and urge all Cottage Grove residents to make sure their homes have working smoke alarms and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of fire and emergency services, passed this day of October the 2nd, 2024, and signed by Myron Bailey, Mayor.
All right, so with that, I'll look for a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Kambata, second by Councilmember Garza, I believe, right? Just to accept that, thank you, Councilmember Olson, for reading that.
Welcome.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And I know, thank you, Deputy Fire Chief Aragoni. And again, just to share with the public, once again, the Fire Department open house is this next Tuesday or October 8th. And it's from 5 to 7 at the Central Fire Station. So if you can't park, like in the past, if you can't park or there's enough space in the parking ramps or the parking lots at the fire station, you can park at St. Rita's, and there'll be access to safely bringing it across 80th Street to the fire station. So hoping to see a great crowd there on Tuesday evening. So thanks again, Nick. All right, council, next on the agenda is consent. Is there anything council would like to pull on consent? Councilmember Olson?
Mayor, I'd like to pull item O, please.
Item O. All right, is there anything else? Nope. All right, so item O that Councilmember Olson pulled is the 2025 DWI Traffic Safety Officer Grant Agreement. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. As you stated, this is a opportunity for us to authorize execution of the 2025 DWI Traffic Safety Officer Grant Agreement with the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, which our public safety team here in Cottage Grove recently received. And I was going to pull this here this evening so that Captain Brad Peterson would have some time to tell us a little bit about what exactly this grant is going to be used for and how it will benefit the residents of Cottage Grove. Especially in light of the fact that, one of the very common things that we hear about from residents is, traffic safety. And so this is definitely something that we will put to good use, and I was hopeful Captain Peterson could tell us some more.
All right. Good evening, Council. Thank you, Councilmember Wilson, for giving me this opportunity to highlight this important moment where we can announce to the public that we now have a full-time traffic safety officer, which formally began yesterday. So this is a 100% grant funded through the Department of Public Safety, Office of Traffic Safety. This position, as I said, will be a full-time position whose sole duty is to address traffic safety concerns. And as Councilmember stated, we all know that traffic safety is a major concern for residents in our community, and we hear about that all the time. Unfortunately, our patrol officers just don't have the ability or time to invest as much time as we would like them to have to address traffic safety concerns. But now we'll have an officer who can, whose sole job is to address traffic safety concerns in our community. And so, as council knows, we approved an ambitious 5-year strategic plan in May, and in the subsequent budget workshops, council challenged us to seek grant funding to support many of those strategic goals and initiatives. Since those workshops, I'd like to let you know that we've applied for 3 to 4 grants, one of them being this traffic safety grant, and we've got a couple more in the works. So hopeful that we'll have some more good news coming in the near future as well. But more about this traffic safety position, his sole duties will be enforcing impaired driving, speeding, distracted driving, seatbelt regulations, things of that nature. So there will be a component of strict enforcement. However, a lot of his responsibility and duties will include public education as well. So he won't be out there just writing tickets. It's largely about educating the public as well. He'll be held to performance metrics that are terms of the grant itself, and also performance metrics that come down from the Toward Zero Deaths program. As you know, for a long time, we've participated in the TZD grant programs, which funds additional enforcement hours for DWI enforcement, speed enforcement, seatbelt enforcement, things like that. And we will continue to do that as well. So we're going to take a two-pronged approach to traffic safety. We'll continue to do our TZD grants, which provides overtime hours for officers to go out and provide that extra enforcement. And then we'll also have Officer Loud Renzel, whose full-time job will be traffic safety. So,
Thank
Any
you,
other
Brad.
questions?
And it's my understanding that this is one of those grants where we can actually apply for it every year. Is that right?
that's correct. Obviously, at this point, there's no guarantee that it'll be renewable, but provided he does a great job, which I know he will, there's a high likelihood that we'll continue to renew that year after year.
Okay, perfect. And I also believe that the grant itself or the application rather, was written by Sergeant Pat Young and yourself, right?
I had a small piece in it. Largely, it was Pat Young who deserves all the credit.
Okay, good. Well, look, this is a really important thing, and as we continue to evolve as a community and we continue to grow, those traffic concerns, I think, become a little bit more prevalent, and having somebody who's fully dedicated to addressing those concerns is a big step in the right direction. So thank you. Make sure you thank Sergeant Young and Officer Renzel as well for being willing to do this, because it's a big job, but it's an important job.
Certainly, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, seeing that nothing else was pulled on consent, at this point, I'll look for a motion and a second to approve consent.
Move consent.
All right, so
Second.
motion by Councilmember Thiede, second by Councilmember Garza. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So if anybody's interested for anything that was on tonight's consent calendar, which was long, a lot of consent tonight, all of those items have been approved. Next item is 8, which is approved disbursement. 8A is to pay the bills.
Move the bills.
Motion by Councilmember Olson. Do I have a
Second.
second? Second by Councilmember Garza. Again, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. 9 is public hearings are in this evening. 10 is bid awards. We do have one this evening, which is the Jamaica Avenue Trunk Storm Sewer Realignment Project bid award. And our Director of Public Works, Ryan Burfine's here. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So tonight we'll have our bid award for this project as mentioned. Even though it's kind of a long name, it's a little bit general, I will say. So I just want to quickly show where this work is happening for the council's benefit. So this is along the east side of Jamaica Avenue, just south of 95th Street. And today we have a 54-inch storm sewer pipe, so a trunk storm sewer pipe that goes into where the compost site used to be, where Quick Trip will be going. And this was a planned effort. We knew that we needed to get this down to what we call our stormwater flume. So it's that long channel that brings all the water down to the pond on 100th Street and ultimately out to the Mississippi River. So that's an effort that we want to undertake this year for a variety of reasons. One just has to do with the development of that site and getting things ready, dealing with some different issues of the DNR and such. So now's the prime time to get this done. And just from a weather standpoint, I mean, fall going into winter, you can see how dry it's been. That's the #1 time to get some of these stormwater projects done because it's flowing water off Jamaica, it has to continue to flow water while we actually do this work. So a little bit of a challenging project. And it's about 300 feet of storm sewer that we will be realigning down to the south. We got actually a very large number of bids. We have 10 bids that we received. It's always a bit of a challenge this time of year. It really all depends on contractor availability, right? Did they have a light workload in the fall where they want to keep their crews going? If that's the case, you see really good bids. Contractors who are extremely busy and are hoping maybe there's not a lot of interest, they throw really high numbers at it. You know, lots of overtime, lots of well, to be honest, you know, just more expense on their end. So you can see that reflected in the bids. Our estimate was $400,000, and we did come under that at $298,000. And even though it's quite a bit under, we're still comfortable because you can see a nice range of those bids. 3 were under the estimate, 1 was right nearly at the estimate, and the rest were over. So we're pretty comfortable with that, and clearly we have some contractors that have availability and opening to meet what's a pretty tight schedule to get the work done before December. And with that, the recommendation is on the screen, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, Council, any questions at all? Councilmember Thiede.
So have we ever used, did you say we have used these guys, New Look?
So New Look is not someone that we've had a direct contract with before. They've been, subcontractors on projects, and they are someone that's, been around the metro, so someone that we're familiar with, just haven't had a direct contract for.
So I guess looking at those prices, we're to assume that, that they probably had the resources available. Do you think, you probably haven't talked to them, are they just coming off a big project or something, just timing wise, or what do you think?
Yep. So I think when you look at the estimate, Councilmember Thiede, Mr. Mayor, when we're estimating a project this time of year, it can be very challenging. So I will say there's some additional contingency that we always build in this time of year. Their pricing, if it was early spring and we were bidding this out a different time, maybe you'd expect that more. But because we have two other contractors just kind of slowly increasing in amount, it's not something concerning. If our estimate was 450,000 and everyone was above that and one was at 300, that's where we start to get concerned about such a large gap, so much money left on the table. But given kind of the incremental increase, we're pretty comfortable with it.
And with this particular type of project, is there that much that's really very difficult about it?
I will say it's a good question. There is a lot of bedrock, but we have good information on the bedrock because we just did that large culvert project in 2019 that we're going to be tying into. So we have a good feel for where the bedrock is based on our soil borings. There can always be some flexibility, but we have a good idea on what's called the hard bedrock. They have to kind of jackhammer out, and the soft bedrock they can dig out with their excavators. So while there can be some range in that, that's not something that one contractor could anticipate over another. We have soil borings at certain locations, and they really use that to inform their bid process. Other than that, there's not really a lot of changes or, inconsistencies in the project. No private utilities to deal with, no real challenges that we know of. Obviously, once you dig into a ground, things can happen, but nothing that would be challenging.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Awesome. Councilmember Kambata.
Do you see this having a significant impact on traffic flow in that area?
Yep, that's another good question. So in general, we're going to be trying to keep the work off to the side. The pipe isn't very deep. I mean, it's deeper in the ground. It's about 15 feet deep. But if you can kind of see the blue lines where we're extending with that tie-in point, that's, generally we've got a good kind of 12-foot setback from the curb. So the goal is to minimize those traffic impacts. Just from a safety, there could be needs for, one-lane traffic. But I will say that south of 95th Street, that's a little bit less of a challenge. The traffic kind of backs up from the signal during shift change, but that can kind of flow through. So at the most, you'd have kind of a one-lane traffic closure.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? All right, thank you. Thank you, Brian. So council, before you is a resolution on the screen. If somebody wants to do a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-141, awarding the Jamaica Avenue Trunk Storm Sewer Realignment Project to New Look Contracting in the total amount of $298,439.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Kambata, second by Councilmember Thiede. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving right along. 11 is regular agenda. There is nothing on our regular agenda this evening, so we're already down to council comments and requests, and I'll start with Councilmember Kambata.
Thank you, Mayor Bailey. I looked up and found out that September, we had 20 days over 80 degrees, which is abnormally warm for September. So I had the opportunity to take my kids out, and we've been trying out a different park every day in Cottage Grove in September, and I think we made it to about 15 parks on our dad days. And I just have to say, a huge shout out to our Parks and Rec crew for taking such great care of our community and our parks.
Awesome. Thank you. That was it, but that's a good call out. I did happen to bump into or saw Zach. I had my grandkids out about a week ago at Glacial Valley, and they loved the play equipment there, so that was pretty awesome. Councilmember Olson.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and I'll definitely echo Councilmember Kambata's comments about the Park and Rec team, and I would like to include River Oaks as well, because I stopped by there over the weekend here, and it was busy as all get out on the golf course. So people are certainly taking advantage of the nice weather, and I know we started early this year. Hopefully we'll be able to play for quite some time yet, but I wouldn't risk it. So if you want to get out there, make sure you make a tea time. The course is in great shape, and of course, you can grab some food and a cocktail or two when you're done. I also wanted to congratulate our Cottage Grove Fire Department for their Fill the Boot campaign for MDA, which they started last weekend at Cub Foods. I believe they will have a table set up as well for donations at their upcoming open house. And so far, they've been able to raise right around $1,700 for muscular dystrophy. That is a charity that means a lot to me. I was one of those kids when Jerry's kids were on TV. My sisters and I would go around and we had our little donation can and we'd knock on people's doors. I had a grandmother who passed away at a pretty young age from multiple sclerosis, and MDA supports multiple sclerosis research, et cetera. So this one hits pretty close to home. I also wanted to take a moment to formally congratulate our new communications manager, Phil Gents, on joining the team here in Cottage Grove. Phil is not a newbie as it relates to Cottage Grove. He actually grew up here and went to school here, so he decided to fly the coop for a while, but ultimately, just like a homing pigeon, he found his way back, and we're pretty happy to have you. So welcome to the community. Once again, Phil, welcome to the team. I'm hearing great things, and I know you're going to do great work for us. And then last, but certainly not least, a shout out to the new executive director for SWCTC, my friend Ann Schweisguth, who I think we all would agree is just flat out awesome at her job. Ann used to be Ann Simpson. She hasn't lost anything with the name change. In fact, she's probably gotten better. But the SWCTC team has been operating with interim directors for several months, and Ann finally decided to take a bite out of that apple and put her name in the hat and become the executive director. So welcome to your new role, Ann, and thank you for all you do in support of our community. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Fantastic, thank you, Councilmember Wilson. Councilmember Thiede.
All right, well, let's see, we're got, gosh, the end of this month. It's on October 26th is the Monster Bash Parade. So Monster Bash is associated with the, is managed by the Strawberry Fest Committee. And so if you want to be in the parade, you go out to the Strawberry Fest website and press the Monster Bash button, and it'll bring up the Monster Bash parade application if you want to be in that. The parade route is the same as it's been for the last 14 years. Well, I don't know if it was always that way, but again, for the last number of years, as long as I can remember, going from the Sawashko Administration Building across from McDonald's, and it goes down to Applebee's. So that'll actually all start at 10 a.m. and I think we're going to have great weather for it. That's what I've heard. So
Did you pick out your costume already, Dave? Do we know what you're going to be yet, or are you saving that? Okay, fair enough. Got it.
So get excited about that, and that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Thiede. Councilmember Garza.
Thank you. Well, I will mention some of the events that we have coming up in the month of October. I think we touched a bit on the Teddy's Heart Foundation fundraiser that's coming up on October 5th. That's going to be at the Red Barn from 4 to 10 p.m., and it's $20 per ticket. That's going to be an awesome fundraiser. We also, on October 11th, Park High School is having their homecoming parade. That starts at 5:15, so that should be a lot of fun. The fire department, as mentioned earlier, on October 8th, they're having their open house from 5 to 7 at the Central Fire Station. And we have another treat with the locally grown theater. They're hosting a play at the City Hall Amphitheater, and that's at 5:30 on the 18th of October. And that play will be the Frankenstein Monster. So that should be a lot of fun. And last but not least, our Monster Bash. I'm excited for that. We participated last year with Strawberry Fest, so I'm hoping to do this again.
There you go.
There we go. Awesome,
Thank
thank you. So just a couple things, and it's a good piggyback. This coming Saturday, there's a lot of, I'll say, food opportunities in town. I'll just put it that way. The first one I did want to mention, and this is kind of cool because I did get an email from the from the manager of Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee was, as a company, was named the #1 grocer in America by USA Today. And in recognition of that and this pretty distinguished honor, from 11:30 to 3:30 at the location here in Cottage Grove, they're going to be providing free hot dogs, burgers, chips, and beverages. They're going to have bouncy houses, yard games, and a whole bunch of other free things in the community. And when I did talk to Mike at the store, he literally said that they've got like 10,000 hot dogs and 10,000 burgers they're giving away. So, and it's free. Dave, right up your alley there, it's
Yeah,
free.
Unfortunately, I got it on my calendar, but I'm not going to be around.
I'll eat your share.
You'll eat his
Yeah,
share,
yeah.
okay.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
All right, and then later on in the day, and that was the piggyback from 4 to 10 at the Red Barn. It's $20 a ticket. Is the Teddy's Heart Foundation fundraiser. So I'd encourage everybody to swing in and support that group. And then on Saturday evening, as I was just talking to Councilmember Olson about this, the Masonic Lodge in Old Cottage Grove is having their annual spaghetti dinner. If you haven't had it, it is amazing. And again, that is from 4:30 to 7:30. And adult tickets are $13, kids 8 to 12 are $7. Below that is free. And so if you're interested in any of those opportunities, maybe take a run down to Teddy's Heart. I know they usually have like other than getting in, there's just going to be some food there, but they also have different drawings and things there, and then maybe take a run out to the Masonic and have some dinner. And then lastly, what I wanted to do is, we're getting down to almost a little over a month, close though, to the election. And I was just, matter of fact, talking to our Parks and Recreation Director, Zach. And in the upcoming weeks here before the election, you're going to hear, as you're already hearing, a lot about the Preserve, Play, Prosper program that we're looking at doing for our Parks Department here in Cottage Grove. And most of you probably got a flyer like this one you can see on the screen there. A lot of information. I would just share with you a couple things real quick. There is going to be a Facebook Live event we'll be getting additional information out to the public where you can ask questions of myself and Zach and others. If there's something more that you're not seeing on the Preserve, Play, Prosper website. And then we're also doing an open house with some pictures and so on that are going to be, it's going to be at Hamlet Park, which obviously is one of the benefactors if this were to pass. And I just wanted to throw that out there. And then the other one thing, and I keep pointing to different people, I was talking to our city administrator about, I do see, there's quite a few cities out there other than the city of Cottage Grove that is doing this particular type of proposal where it's a local option sales tax. Woodbury is doing one to the north of us here, and in their particular case, it's for public safety, for a new build out or new building of their existing. They're just going to expand it. I know Stillwater is doing something for parks, but a lot of cities out there, if they don't already have it, they're in the process of doing it. One of the things I just wanted to share from a public standpoint is that I've been asked, and that is, well, what happens? What if it doesn't pass? What if something doesn't pass? And the real answer is, eventually we will build these additions or for example, the Mississippi Dunes Park along the backwaters of the Mississippi. Eventually, we would do it. That could be up to 25 years from now because we put everything on what we call a CIP, capital improvements plan. And then the other question I do get a lot of is like, well, who really shops in Cottage Grove other than Cottage Grove citizens, right? Because anybody that's looking to either support or not support this proposal, in the Preserve, Play, Prosper website, there actually is a study that we had done a couple years ago from the University of Minnesota, and based on data from a couple years ago, basically, the Cottage Grove citizens make up about 68, maybe 69, if you want to do some rounding, percent of the purchases within Cottage Grove, if you will, and about 32% actually is from people outside of Cottage Grove from a couple years ago. So the reason that I believe, and I'll speak for myself, but I'll mention it from a council standpoint, the reason the council decided to go this particular direction versus let's say a referendum question or just starting to pay for it over time is because if you do the local option sales tax, it's not just the residents of Cottage Grove that are paying for this out of their property taxes. So I believe that was part of the reason that we as a council and our staff talked about how can we support our, our play and fun and things that we do in Cottage Grove, but not necessarily have all the Cottage Grove citizens have to pay for the entire thing. So that is the reason for this. But again, we just want you to vote one way or the other. Please vote. But please be informed when you go vote. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself, one of my partners up here on the council. Zach is always available. We do respond to any questions that come through to the website. And again, if there's anything that we can do to better help you and understand this process and why we're doing it, please don't hesitate to ask. So that was it from me on my items. Next, being no more council comments or requests, we do have a workshop just for the public. It is open. And basically what it's about is an update on the August 29th severe weather emergency that we had when that lovely little storm, microburst, came through our community. So council will be moving into the training room to kind of get an update of where everything's at, costs and so on. And then we'll be adjourning from there. So everyone have a great evening.